are not linked to COVID-19.
And USVI to allow bars and restaurants to reopen to dine in, and Magistrate Court establishes system for hearing matters. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up Here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
Welcome everybody. It's Friday, May 22nd, 2020. A happy Friday to each and every one of you. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Javon Wilson. So thrilled to be joining you here for another edition of 284 News Plus. It's the end of the week.
Indeed.
We're heading into the weekend. Well, Ron, before we head into today's newscast, we want to reflect on some information coming out of yesterday's press conference. And I think this is some great news for the territory in light of what's happening with COVID-19. So again, within phase 2 of the economic stimulus plan, Ron, will see the Premier of the Virgin Islands and his government just yesterday announcing that a 3-month amnesty will be granted to persons who were adversely affected by COVID-19. So for the months of May, June, and July, persons may be able to qualify for that relief. But viewers, not everyone is getting it. It will certainly be a case-by-case scenario, and they're examining, that is BVIEC, they're examining exactly who needs it. The Premier reiterating again, it's not for the greedy, but for the needy. So again, this is one of government's measures set to roll out on May 28th, when of course we'll be seeing the full phase 2 of the economic stimulus plan in response to COVID-19, and I know that is long awaited, Ron.
And definitely, I know his remarks, the Honorable Premier's remarks, comes as many persons have been questioning what will happen to the electricity bill. So for those persons, as he said, who are in need, they have some relief to be expected.
Certainly, Ron. But before we head into the newscast as well, we just want to say a special thank you, Ron, to all of our valued viewers. I know a lot of persons tune in from day to day, and especially in this time, such a critical time, COVID-19. A lot is going on, and we want to ensure that our valued viewers are as informed as possible in light of what's happening. Viewers, we're going to go to a very quick commercial break and come right back.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
In the final analysis, we have 2 options. Stay inside and create memories that will last forever, or go outside and say goodbye to those memories. We're not stuck inside, we're safer inside. The time is now to unite, embrace, and love each other from a distance. Show the world and the people in it just how much they mean to you by keeping your distance. It may be difficult, but necessary. Let's reintroduce humanity and heart to all homes. While we can't enjoy the sun, sand, and sea, let's take this time to remember why we are nature's little secrets. Stay inside, and when it's over, we would all be better, stronger, and we would all still be together. With self-discipline and patience, we can overcome. We are, have been, and will always be VI Strong. A message from your team at 284 Media.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, again, more clarity coming out of that press conference with the government of the Virgin Islands yesterday. Now, viewers, amidst the devastating realities induced by COVID-19, many residents across the territory were also forced to grapple with a wave of recent deaths. Now, according to the statistics coming out of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, we've recorded a massive 32 sudden deaths since the beginning of the year, forcing many to question the circumstances leading up to their respective deaths. Now, the question of COVID-19 came up. Did they have it? Were they tested? And if yes, What were the results of those tests? Well, viewers, the Minister of Health and Social Development, Honorable Carvin Malone, has responded. Listen in.
Yeah, some of the tests that were conducted were for the postmortem testings and so forth. So they were all negative so far. So none of the deaths reported have been reported to me or to the territory as being as a result of COVID-19.
Wonderful, thank you.
Now, Ron, I know the minister's response yesterday at that press conference really alleviated some of the lingering concerns we've been hearing across the territory as we take stock of what's happening across the world with COVID-19. Now, in addition to that, even the way we deal with deaths at this moment is very different. I mean, funeral gatherings at this point are extremely limited, which also adds to the pain felt by the persons who are losing their loved ones and essentially not able to say a proper goodbye. So we really appreciate again, this bit of clarity, coming out from the government of the Virgin Islands as it relates to COVID-19 and the impact it has on our territory. But once again, we just want to say condolences, heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of the persons deceased recently. Indeed,
and Jovan, I just want to reiterate from personal experience, just like you said, losing a loved one in the midst of COVID-19 is not an easy task because of the adjustments that we have to get adjusted to. But we're staying strong, and we want to encourage our viewers to do that as well. And right across the waters, the USVI consortium has reported that the U.S. Virgin Islands bars and restaurants have permission to reopen to dine-in patrons beginning next Tuesday, May 26th, with certain restrictions. Governor Albert Bryan announced yesterday, Thursday, May 21st, 2020. The decision further sets the stage for a full reopening of the territory to tourists in June. Governor Bryan said during the regular Government House COVID-19 update, and I quote, Tuesday, May 26th will allow a soft opening of restaurants and bars so they can understand what their service is going to look like after having an opportunity to call employees and properly space their tables, chairs, and to make sure they have proper equipment to sanitize and keep the people visiting those restaurants and bars safe. The restrictions placed on establishments will include employees are required to wear facial coverings at all times. Governor Bryant said while patrons are not required to wear a mask at the restaurants and bars, it is strongly recommended establishments must provide sanitation stations for customers and employees. Restaurants and bars can only operate at half of fire marshal approved seating capacity or host a maximum of 50 customers. That is 50% of what the fire marshal said you can put in there, or 50 customers, whichever is less, Governor Bryan added. Now, he also said tables must be placed at least 6 feet apart. Establishments cannot cater to parties larger than 6 people. Larger groups can be split up among multiple tables that are properly spaced apart. Bar stools must be spaced out as much as possible. He admitted that we know this is going to be difficult, but we are encouraging you to do that. Governor Bryan also said that more detailed guidelines and guidances will be made public prior to Tuesday. He said the instructions to food and beverage industries will be based on guidance by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and, of course, the National Restaurant Association. The territory of the USVI opens to leisure travel after June 1st, when hotel reservations systems can be reactivated. In the meantime, Governor Bryan urged the newly reopening businesses to follow the rules, stating, and I quote, "We don't really enjoy shutting businesses down, but we will shut you down if we have to." Jovan, very good news in certain regards as it pertains to the U.S. Virgin Islands. I know many persons are concerned as to when they'll get back to normalcy, and this is an example. Whether or not many persons agree that bars should be included is up for debate, but this is what the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands has seen fit.
And we see a similar rollout here in the British Virgin Islands, Ron. Just yesterday, the Premier of the Virgin Islands announcing that plans are currently in place to allow for in-dining at the various restaurants across the territory. Now, the provisions have not been laid out as yet. We're hearing that on Sunday, this Sunday, the 24th, when the new curfew order takes form, we'll be seeing more details. But definitely, we see the U.S. Virgin Islands really getting into the fine print of how it's going to work. Now, as you said, as it relates to the bar, I think that's a bit more tricky as we are a bit more happy and carefree once we're having drinks and not necessarily comply with protocols, but definitely some steps back to normalcy in the U.S. Virgin Islands and subsequently right here in the British Virgin Islands.
Indeed. It's still ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Antigua to reopen International Airport on June 1st. All this and more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Everyone looks to the future, but no one truly knows what the future holds.
The number of people under the age of 20 with type 2 diabetes could increase by 49% by 2050. Let it be known that we all have a 30% chance of developing hypertension.
Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
More than 60,000 young adults aged 20 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Obesity leads to problems such as stroke, heart disease, and kidney failure.
No matter your race, age, or color, we are all at risk.
These diseases can be managed or prevented if caught early.
But with the right medicine and the right doctors to keep us on a path to live a robust and healthy life,
we will live well.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, daunting reports out of Virgin Gorda. According to what we've heard so far today, Virgin Gorda restaurant, Leverick Bay Resort and Marina was today robbed. According to the allegations, the incident occurred today during the early morning hours, and the suspects were able to cart off with an undisclosed amount of cash and other office equipment. Now, ever since the incident, we reached out to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, who indeed confirmed that a report was received just about 9 a.m. this morning of a burglary at Leverick Bay, but details surrounding same are unclear at this time. Now, viewers, this is the second robbery reported within 3 days on the island of Virgin Gorda. Just May 20th, CCT Virgin Gorda was also burglarized. At approximately 4:46 a.m., bandits took off with an undisclosed amount of inventory along with the store safe. The property also sustained severe damages. It was also reported that another business within the vicinity was burglarized on that same day. A more detailed report, viewers, is forthcoming from both incidents as investigations continue by the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. Now, Ron, this is definitely one of the frightening realities coming out of times like these, pandemics, where we see persons are somewhat desperate and really delving into law. And I think as we continue to manage what's going on the ground with COVID-19, it poses a very difficult challenge for our law enforcers to be able to manage a rise in crime. I mean, we look across the borders, we see this happening in St. Croix more specifically, but throughout the U.S. Virgin Islands and across the region. And we've seen similar activities post-Irma.
Yes.
And at this time, we just have to continue to monitor what's going on the ground because, again, it's a lot to deal with.
It is. And again, you said post-Irma, but even as COVID-19 began to take shape and we entered into the early stages of curfew and 24-hour curfew, we saw a lot of string of robberies across the territory. And again, like we see in Virgin Gorda, very unfortunate, but we're thankful that no one was hurt in any of these incidents. And we continue to employ our residents to continue to just stay encouraged and stay positive and protected, especially business owners.
Yes.
And on the regional scene out of St. John's, Antigua, Caribbean Network Weekly has reported that the Antigua and Barbuda government says it will reopen its international airport on June 1st as the country moves to rehabilitate its economy in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic that forced a virtual shutdown of the island over the past 7 weeks. In addition, the government said that it will reduce the curfew hours from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. local time daily, and that will on Thursday seek parliamentary approval for a further 60-day extension of the state of emergency to July 31st. The VC Bird International Airport will open to commercial traffic on June 1st, 2020. A number of international carriers are expected to begin service to Antigua within days of that date. Certain protocols will apply both at the time of embarkation expectation of travelers at the source markets and upon their arrival in Antigua, according to the statement issued following the cabinet meeting on Wednesday. It said the reopening of the airport is also to accommodate returning nationals and guests. However, these individuals entering the country will be subject to strict health protocols to avoid any COVID-19 spread among the domestic population and possible community spread. Accordingly, all travelers will be required to take a rapid COVID test, indicating that they are COVID-free. Returning nationals will be quarantined for 14 days, and hotels will serve as enclave properties for guests whose interaction with employees and other locals will be limited and subject to established protocols. The Antiguan government said that it has also agreed to waive all duties and taxes on importation of building material, furniture, fixtures, and fittings for all investment properties, to include apartments, accommodation, and commercial buildings. In a statement, they said, and I quote, "As we relax these restrictions, greater vigilance and continued personal responsibility are required to control any future spread of COVID-19. All citizens and residents are expected to continue to strictly observe and adhere to the health protocols of social distancing, good hygiene etiquette, and the mandatory and appropriate wearing of a mask," the cabinet stated in its official comments. It noted that as cabinet moves to reopening the economy in order to provide opportunities for many workers to earn an income, its government has decided that all investment properties that commence their construction within the period will be allowed a waiver of duties and customary taxes on building supplies, fixtures, and equipment. Construction is encouraged with social distancing, hand washing, and other healthy practices that will inhibit the spread of the coronavirus. Now, as it pertains to barbers, beauty salons, nail salons, will all require a certificate from the Ministry of Health indicating that the establishment has been examined and is approved for operation. It is to be placed in a permanent place for examination by customers and health inspection officers. Antigua's Minister of Health, the Honorable Malwin Joseph, has informed the cabinet that only 2 known persons are now infected with the coronavirus on Antigua. He said, and I quote, "There may be others who are asymptomatic and may pose a threat to their daily contacts. However, the data with which the ministry is now working, it is reasonably to conclude that we are virtually COVID-19 free. Under these circumstances, the cabinet agreed that the importation of the disease is likely to be the challenge which the people and government will face. In that regard, the cabinet determined that managing the risk is now the dominant mode of operation." Jovan, another example of one of our fellow Caribbean regions working towards reopening, and similar to us here in the BVI, of the concerns about reintegrating persons back into society, they too have those same concerns.
Certainly, like me and Kyla were saying just yesterday, Ron, I think one of the things we have to realize is that when it comes to the Caribbean and tourism, tourism really feeds the economic pipeline in the Caribbean. I mean, it's all we have when you think about it. In the BVI, we're blessed to have 2 very strong economies, but in a lot of countries, for example, in Jamaica, 50% of that revenue comes from the tourism industry. So I think what leaders across the region are doing is they're monitoring the health risks, and as soon as they're able to get those numbers down, like you said in Antigua, a mere 2 cases, which really speaks to their ability to manage the situation as opposed to react to it. And I think that's what we need to look at, because without the economy, what will we do? A lot of these countries across the region does not have the United States, does not have the United Kingdom to depend on for revenue. So, you know, it's just about so much time before their personal reserves are depleted. So you really have to look at ways of, you know, easing into a gradual reopening. And I think that's what they're continuing to do across the region. Yesterday, we also reported on the Cayman Islands. They had a date set for September 1st. They had a surge recently, which forced them to revisit that decision. So again, it's about monitoring and managing. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of managing that aspect, the aspect of health in the BVI. So I think soon enough, something should be forthcoming as we try to save the tourism industry.
But Jovan, I must add that it is absolutely pleasant and inspiring to see that our brothers and sisters, like us here in Tortola are working towards a reintegration. Similarly in Antigua, they are now back to schools in some grades. So we see where we're all trying to work towards reintegrating and getting back to what we know as a normalcy of life and business.
You know, and Ron, and that is because we don't know how long this is going to last. So we have to learn to live with it. And I think, again, that's what most leaders are, you know, as they continue to lead the charge across the region, that's the main thing they're keeping in mind. Viewers, we have a lot more still ahead. 39 million, are now unemployed in the United States of America, and our local magistrate court has some new rules that you probably want to know about. Stick and stay with us.
Eco? 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 Everyone is speaking about eco-friendly products. We wanted to take the time to introduce the Eco Island brand. Eco Island is a brand dedicated to providing you with a reliable and cost-effective solution. Eco-friendly products for your restaurant, hotel, bar, office, and home. With takeaway trays, bags, cups, paper straws, cutlery, and cleaners. For more information, follow us at Eco Island 100.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Now, in the international scene, or on the international scene, rather, out of Washington, the Associated Press has reported that the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits in 2 months since the coronavirus took hold in the U.S. has swelled to nearly 39 million. The government reported on Thursday, even as states from coast to coast gradually reopen their economies and let people go back to work. More than 2.4 million people filed for unemployment last week in the latest wave of layoffs and the business shutdowns that have brought the economy to its knees, the Labor Department said. That brings the running total in a staggering 38.6 million, a job market collapse unprecedented in its speed. The number of weekly applications has slowed for 7 straight weeks, yet the figures remain breathtakingly high, 10 times higher rather than normal before the crisis struck. It shows that even though all states have begun to reopen and start the reintegration process over the past 3 weeks, unemployment has yet to snap back, and the outbreak is still damaging businesses and destroying jobs. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said over the weekend that U.S. unemployment could peak in May or June at 20% to 25%, a level last seen during the depths of the Great Depression almost 90 years ago. Unemployment in April stood at 14.7%, a figure also unmatched since the 1930s. Over 5 million people worldwide have been confirmed infected by the virus, and more than 330,000 deaths have been recorded, including over 94,000 in the U.S. and around 165,000 in Europe, according to a tally kept by Johns Hopkins University and based on government data. Experts believe, unfortunately, the true toll is significantly higher. Jovan, daunting statistics coming out of the U.S. as it pertains to unemployment, something we knew of, but to hear 38.6 million is quite daunting, and it brings to reality how much of an impact this has taken on our economies all over the world.
Well, a lot of persons predicted it, like you said, from the onset of coronavirus, just based on the numbers, the staggering numbers we've been seeing and the rate at which businesses were shutting down and the economy essentially was closing in. And, you know, persons have said this is the worst we've seen it since the Great Depression. So I think that in itself really speaks volumes. Ron, a lot of persons continue to ask, why do we cover these international stories? And I think it's so important that we continue to piggyback on them and reflect on them, because in places like even the BVI, let's start there, the BVI imports 90% of its goods from the United
Most
States and
definitely.
other places. So that really speaks to, if they're affected, eventually that effect will trickle down to us. So we have to continue to monitor what's going on, not just in the region, but across the international scene, as we're all affected by this pandemic that is COVID-19.
Well, in the same breath, I want persons to understand that what we do and what we strive to accomplish here at 284 Media, news is not just the BVI government, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
News is worldwide. We
Way
have brothers
beyond
and
that.
sisters regionally and internationally, business partners all over the world. So it is important for us to keep you informed and to also tie in the different aspects of each community to the BVI.
And I find that, we oftentimes try to differentiate ourselves, and we're now tied together by one
We're
thing,
no
and that is
different.
COVID-19. And what we're looking at as well, viewers, is how other countries, larger nations, what's their approach? Do we need to reinvent the wheel, or do we adopt strategies from the wider world? And I think that's one of the more important reasons why we continue to monitor what's going on the international scene. But viewers, as we count down, the Magistrates Court will reopen on Monday, May 25th, and will process matters through the in-person and remote hearings as well. Court manager Mrs. Annette Williams-Sylvester said that the court will establish appointment dates and times for hearings in light of the curfew measures imposed by the government of the Virgin Islands. So viewers, as you can see in a document shortly, criminal matters, including traffic matters for report where parties are legal on both sides, as you can see on the screen, those will be heard remotely and scheduled for just about 15 minutes, while in other cases, for example, juvenile matters, for first appearances, these will be heard in person. Now, the exact times and dates will be provided to facilitate same. As you can see on the screen, it's a lot. It's a very in-depth list, so you're free to visit the government's website to go through the respective categories. Now, Mrs. Sylvester said that the court has realized that with the number of matters that are pending on its docket, there is a need to set parameters in terms of how the matters will be prioritized. The court manager said, quote, "Matters involving defendants in custody for the same matter, part heard matters involving juveniles, matters for paper committal, matters involving defendants who would like to admit to the charges, and child maintenance matters will usually be given priority." So we see a matter of priority as it relates to how the cases will be dealt with, viewers. Now, the court will communicate with the parties the appointment dates and times for the hearing of all matters. Persons with matters before the court are cordially asked to contact 468-4360 or 468-4309. You can also email them at magistratescourtjh@gov.vg so that they may be advised of the new date and, of course, the time for their hearing. So, around we see here more adjustments within our jurisdiction, the British Virgin Islands, as it relates to matters that will be placed before the Magistrates Court. We see here that some will remain and be dealt with, remotely, but some cases, of course, returning to in-person hearings. So more news for the BVI.
Indeed, and matters of the court are very important, so they must continue. And I love the fact that we're making strides. We have not seen this before, where matters have been dealt with remotely. So I'm happy to see us transitioning. Javon, before we close out, I want to remind our viewers to take mention and note of a very detailed interview that I had the opportunity of conducting earlier today with the Honorable Minister, representative for the 8th District and leader of the opposition, the Honorable Marlon Penn. The opposition has presented a plan in regards to the economic stimulus package and their thoughts on it. It's a three-phase approach covering three different parts. And I think it's important for our viewers to check that detailed interview out to get a better understanding of the way forward and perhaps seeing things from a different vantage point. To date, we have not seen a stimulus package, but here we see the opposition presenting their thoughts. As the Honorable Member said, it might not be the perfect way, but at least that's what they saw fit. So be sure to check that out on our page, 284news.com, as well as our Facebook page.
And I'm laughing because as you're speaking, I'm remembering the premier always says a good idea is a good idea no matter who it comes from.
Yes,
So
that's
viewers,
true.
it's all about us pooling our talents, our respective resources, and of course forging a way forward for the British Virgin Islands. We're out of time. You can follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com. We're also on Facebook. You can like us there, 284media and 284BVI on Instagram as well as Twitter. My name is Javon Wilson, wishing you a great weekend.
And I'm Ron Grant. We'll see you on Monday as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. We're 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news right here on 284 Media. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Are you a business owner? Business owners are very busy thinking on ways to grow. Wouldn't you like a vendor that makes life easier? P3 Paper Plastic Products offers 24-hour WhatsApp ordering. So, whether you're on vacation, at a sporting event,